Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick update on the Alice cosplay. Please excuse the pajamas and scary hair and glasses and no makeup. I just finished doing my first case study of business law. Yay, education! So, I don't know if you guys saw my more recent post of all my excitement for my Alice muslin. I finally got my sleeves done, which was really exciting, and those were more difficult than I had anticipated, and the real reason they were difficult was because the instructions were basically illegible, so I kind of just fiddled my own way around into figuring out how exactly I was supposed to make these frickin' sleeves. But the exciting thing that I did this weekend was make the Mad Hatter top hat. I know when I originally posted about the Alice cosplay, the boyfriend was going to be doing the White Rabbit. Then he decided that he didn't want to get beat up on the subway for wearing bunny ears. So instead he's going to be wearing a hat. I have some pictures that I'll be posting of the progress of the hat because there was no way I was going to be able to do a video of myself making the hat. I wasn't going to go out and buy another hat to do a tutorial video. And that's not necessarily what this blog is about because I'm learning as I'm going. I don't have necessarily vast experience to be teaching other people how to do it. But I want to show you the hat. It's a hat! How awesome is that? You can wear it, and it's a hat. So, after looking at various thrift stores and hat shops, and deciding that we did not want to spend $80 on a top hat just to cover it in fabric and glue, we got really smart and went to our local Halloween store and found a hat that was even labeled Mad Hatter hat for $12.99. So, and it was in just the, you can see a little bit better without the sign, just the perfect shape for the hat with the curved brim, the angled in top part, which this is technically called a Wellington hat. I did my research, popular between the 1820s and 1840s, which gives it its more distinct style. So I'll just do a quick, like, how I made this hat, because I looked all over the internet on how to make these hats, and it was like, use wire or cardboard, and I was like, I gave that a 5-minute try, and I was like, screw this. So after finding the hat, I went to my local craft store and got way too much fabric, but I would suggest getting about a yard of whatever color fabric you're deciding to use, because that way, if you do mess up, you have extra fabric to go back and use it instead of having to go back out to the store and get it. And it, you know, it was $7. It wasn't a big deal. At the end of this day, this hat probably cost me $25 to $30, which in the grand scheme of, you know, my other options for a hat is a lot cheaper. So I went out and I got about a yard of this kind of olive green, light olive green colored fabric. And I got a darker hunter green, mine has a little shimmer to it because who doesn't like shimmer, ribbon. And I got a thicker ribbon. It's about 2 to 3 inches thick, which is the style of the Mad Hatter if you're going with a traditional hat. And even if you're not going with a traditional hat, if you're going with the Tim Burton hat, you can still use the same techniques that I used to make the hat. It's just a question of design. So, purchased that. I also purchased just the foam paper, you know, like the 8x12 foam paper, for the sign. And through my education, I learned that 10/6, which this is backwards because this is a mirror, so I don't know. You get the idea. The 10/6 stands for 10 shillings 6 pence, or 10 pence 6 shillings in Old English money. So it was like a price tag of how much it cost. So got those materials, and I also got this Elmer's Craft Bond. It is a spray adhesive glue, which was absolutely awesome to use for attaching the fabric to the hat. I would suggest, I was intending on using hot glue, which would have obviously been a stupid idea thinking back at it now, but, I just asked the person at the craft store what they had in mind for attaching material to another material, and she actually had the suggestion of the spray adhesive because it won't dry with ripples like the hot glue or craft glue or any other kind of glue would dry with. So it dries as, flat as the material it's drying on. And this was like $6 for a small can, and there's still a ton in it. I definitely would do this outside. I was doing it on like a 90-degree day and did it outside for 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm dying, I can't be out here. I was also wearing jeans, which was stupid on my part, and then I just went inside and did it in my room with all the windows open and the fans on and the doors open, which I definitely understand why they call it the Mad Hatter, because I'm getting a little tipsy off the spray adhesive scent, but do it with a lot of open windows and don't huff it. So after that, I cut out loose shapes of the fabric because I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to spray it on. This says it takes like an hour to completely solidify, which I would say is fairly accurate, because I would spray it on and kind of move it and finagle it to, be manipulated the way I wanted to. So I first started with the bottom, which I put the hat this way. So I had it like this, but for visual purposes. And I used one big sheet that covered the entire thing. Stabbed a hole in the middle, cut around the outside of the circle, and then wrapped it, sprayed it and wrapped it around. So that way there was no creases on it underneath the hat, because when wearing it and somebody's looking up at you, you're going to see, a seam. So after fiddling with that for a little while, I was able to figure out a way to not have a seam. There are some wrinkles, but it was really difficult folding it over. You can see there's a lot of like fold edges and stuff like that on here from cutting it and folding it over, but I might go back later and put another layer of fabric on top of this fabric to try and smooth out these wrinkles, or I might just leave it. I think it depends on how I'm feeling, but I'm sure if you had more patience than me, you could make it look nicer here. After that, I did this section, which was actually surprisingly hard because it was trying to keep it lined up with the edge and keeping it flat. So at some parts you can see, and what I'm using as the back, you can see right here, I struggled a little bit and there were ripples, because it's hard to make something square round. But not the end of the world. And then thirdly, I did the top portion. Every time I added fabric, you can kind of see, pulled it over the top, and then with this I folded the seam under and sprayed, so that way there was a clean seam line. It's not a perfect circle, but it's not about it being a perfect circle. The Mad Hatter is supposed to be crazy and kooky, so if his hat's not perfect, I'm usually quite meticulous, but I wasn't going to fret over it too much because it's also part of the character. And then for this, I honestly, super rough. This is the only time I made it. I didn't go back and make it a bunch of other times, but the black is actually all Sharpie, and I just Sharpied 10/6, and the 10 should be bigger than the 6 because it's to represent the larger portion you're paying. It's like $10.06 kind of a thing. And then I hot glued this to the hat and then wrapped the ribbon around and hot glued the ribbon on, which you wouldn't see the ripples anyway because it's a shiny fabric, so it's not really a big deal. And then I still have to go and like layer and press this down, and I'm probably going to do more green inside the hat because the boyfriend said that the original material was itchy, so if I cover it with the green material, I won't hear complaining for 8 hours at the con. So that's the Mad Hatter hat. I did a lot of research and a lot of practicing, and it took a couple hours because I was, manipulating the fabric to do what I wanted to do. But if you watch this video, maybe you'll do it in less than a couple hours. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you guys reading the posts and watching the videos. Please comment below so we can discuss cosplay and discuss Alice in Wonderland and discuss top knots. I don't know, whatever you want to talk about. Again, I really appreciate you guys, and stay tuned for more updates. We'll be working on making the Alice dress in the final fabrics, and working on figuring out if the apron will be in lace or all white, and then doing fun little extra materials. We're going to try and make a teacup to put under the Mad Hatter hat so he can lift it up and be kooky and have a teacup under there. And we're going to be also either making or thrifting a teapot, and I'm going to be making some of the drink me, eat me things that Alice finds in the beginning of the movie and the beginning of the novel. So stay tuned, guys, for lots of crafting and lots of sewing. Again, thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.